Thanks for coming. Can you give us your full name, please, and when you were born?
Should I look at the
Whatever you want to do.
like sort of back and forth?
But yeah, this is the microphone.
Microphone, okay.
But it's going to pick you up.
So, my name is Marty Hanley. I am the supervisor at the Milwaukie Community Center.
Okay, and when did you first come to Milwaukie?
So, I started in the year 1996 at the Milwaukie Center, and I started as a part-time transportation coordinator there.
Oh, okay, so the bus we're talking about.
Yep.
And you worked with Joan Young?
Joan was the director, yes.
Okay, well, so were you in the area already?
I was not. I lived, at the time, I lived in Southwest Portland.
Okay.
And now I live in Northeast Portland, but...
I see. So you've always lived in the metro area?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so you're from here.
I'm not from here. No. I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I moved to Oregon in 1993.
Oh, okay.
And,
what made you come here?
well, it was an opportunity, a volunteer opportunity after college when I graduated from Xavier University in Cincinnati. I joined the Jesuit Volunteer Corps for a year and I was stationed in Hillsborough.
Oh,
And I was doing senior transportation as a volunteer coordinator.
So that just fit right in.
Just sort of got me in the door.
So you went to Jesuit schools, or?
I went to Xavier's Jesuit University. Yep.
My brother went to Jesuit, so I'm familiar of back when it was a boys' school anyway. And so you came to work at the Milwaukie Community Center. What was it like then? Do you tell us a little bit about the community center? It was originally called...
It was originally called the Milwaukie Senior Center, and then it switched to the Milwaukie Center. And then just recently, this past year, we added the word community in there, and now it's the Milwaukie Community Center.
Okay.
And the reason we've been trying for years to, even when Joan was there, just to try to make it more inclusive to the whole community, although our focus is senior services and always will be. We do social services and such out of there. As a community center, we think it should be able to serve more of the entire community. Mm-hmm. You know, we think that having children and kids in different ages helps the senior aspect as far as just makes it more lively and a nicer place to be.
Well, I have to say I agree. As long as the seniors. And so originally you were an employee of the city of Milwaukie?
No, when I came in, it was after, I think the switch was in 94.
Oh.
When the Parks District was formed, the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. So the city did operate the building, and there was a partnership with Loaves and Fishes, who operated the nutrition transportation part of the building. So you had the city that did part of it, and then Loaves and Fishes was this separate nonprofit that ran the nutrition and the transportation part of it.
Okay, and so Parks and Rec were the park.
So then the Parks and Rec came in and took over operation as part of the agreement of when that started. They took over the management of the building.
Oh.
And they still had a partnership with Loaves and Fishes. However, Loaves and Fishes at some point, like I think it was 94, just 5 before I got there, determined that they weren't going to do transportation out of there anymore, and that they weren't going to make the meals fresh there. They were going to bring them in from a central kitchen. And at that point, the staff there, including Joan Young and other staff, decided that wasn't good enough. They didn't like that model. They thought they could do a better job in-house. So they took over the nutrition programs and transportation programs and ran them as an enterprise fund, meaning that they had to make enough income to cover their expenses, which they did, to take those services out of the Milwaukie Community Center.
So was the kitchen always there?
The kitchen was built in 1980 as a commercial kitchen. Yep.
1980, and that's when the building went up?
The buildings, started being built in 79 and was finished in 1980.
Okay. So it was,
Nice square year to remember.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
And it was built with a community development block grant. And the city was able to, obtain that grant. It didn't cost the city. I think it was fully paid for by this block grant.
oh my goodness. And who was the center post on that? What was her name?
The director at the time?
Well, the person who really, usually when you get something.
I don't know, Siri. I don't know the name of the person that really spearheaded that effort. It was a group of people.
Oh.
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay, what about Green Knight?
Well, Sarah was, I believe, the first, I think she was the first director. Or maybe the second. Maybe there was someone there for a short amount of time, but she was a director for a while before Joan Young.
Oh, I see. Okay, through the 80s it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't around then, so please excuse me. I don't really know the...
I was in grade school.
Yeah. Well, I think I was in Denver.
There you go.
And Boston. So that's wonderful. How has it changed?
I think a lot of it's the same, which is nice. A lot of it's different, obviously, with society in general changes, but I think more is the same than different. It's a very welcoming place. It's always been that way. We try to make it feel welcoming for everybody of all ages and abilities, and we try to make it a combination of good, nice recreation and then social services. It was developed as a focal point senior center, and what that means is it's sort of like a one-stop shop in a way, where you can get your recreation, you can get your nutrition, you can get social services and help, and find different resources, INR resources and things. So, and it's sort of the idea, is maybe you come as a younger senior, and you take a yoga class or an exercise class or a painting class. Maybe you volunteer, and then you get a little older, and maybe you come in for the noon meal, and you're not able to do as much. Maybe
Puzzle day.
You come in on the bus and play bingo. Who knows? But and then maybe you get older and you can't come in anymore. But then maybe we serve you at your home. Maybe we deliver you Meals on Wheels, or help you navigate the difficult senior environment. We have to figure out where to go next and how to keep moving on. So it's kind of developed in that way. So, that span of being useful and being a good facility for people of different senior ages is how it's developed. And what we've done is we've kept that, and then also trying to expand a bit into younger kids and different adult programming as well.
I think you have some good kid programs.
We had this past summer, we had some nice kids camps all summer in there, which is great, because especially this hot summer we've had, it's nice and air conditioned in there, and they go in there and they spend the day in the center and go outside once in a while to do something. It's really nice. It's in North Clackamas Park, which is a beautiful park. So it's been a blessing in a lot of ways, because it's just a beautiful, peaceful environment for a center, for a community center. A little bit of a curse, because sometimes people don't know we're there. They could spend their whole life driving up and down 224 and never venture into the center. They could go to the dog park in North Clackamas Park and never really realize what the center is as well. So part of what we're always trying to do as well is to just inform people and market the center and let people know what's there and what it does.
Get the education out in the community.
And trying to just let people know that there's something there for them if they're interested.
That's nice. So you've been there a long time.
I have.
What would you say is like the best thing or the worst thing and the worst thing, or something that really stands out in your mind? Oh, this was the best thing to happen at this center, or happened to you at the center.
That's a good question.
Or the worst thing. Sorry, I should have put this in the email.
No, it's okay. Well, I think one of the best things that happened was when the Parks District took over the nutrition and transportation programs from Loaves and Fishes. Honestly, I think that really solidified what we did, and it brought those two programs over. Were there before that, but they were kind of not necessarily working real closely together. When they combined that under the Parks District, I think it made our nutrition program a lot better for the community, and also, just easier to manage and maintain as a cohesive group.
I was just going to say, so Meals on Wheels, how many do you serve every day?
Right now we're at about 250
a day.
A day.
Wow.
And how long has that been going on?
So the Meals on Wheels, since we've been doing, it's been since the building. So pre-1988, it was done out of a church, and I don't recall which church. And then when they built it, the idea was that we're going to have this commercial kitchen and the meals are going to go out of there. Which they did with Loaves and Fishes until they switched over to the Parks District.
It's a great kitchen.
The other thing that I think was great was developing Pete's Cafe in the cafe area, because it really gives people a way to be social and to have a snack or a cup of coffee or a lunch with a friend without partaking in the full noon meal or the congregate meal, which is typically more of a dinner type meal. That's what goes out on the Meals on Wheels. So it's more of a full 1/3 RDA meal, which sometimes people would like, but maybe you don't want to have spaghetti for lunch. Maybe you want a bowl of soup. Mm-hmm. So the Pete's Cafe was a really nice idea, I think, because it kind of opened that up more to the community.
And when did that happen?
I think that happened, I'm going to guesstimate because I don't know offhand, but right 2005 maybe. So it's been a while. I always consider like in your house, like the kitchen's sort of the heart of your house. In my opinion, like where if you have a party and a gathering, people always gather in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you make your food for your family. So in the center, I always kind of figure the kitchen is the same thing. It's kind of the heart of the center. And by expanding that into the cafe, into the kitchen, the meals go out, they come in people, and you have the big open area there. I always kind of figure that's kind of the heart of the center.
You were talking about maintaining and paying for itself. Well, I know at Pete's Cafe, things are so relatively inexpensive compared to the community. Is that mostly because volunteers are there?
Yes, that's a big thing, so that's a good point. So we're able to keep our prices low. Obviously, food prices are high, but we're not paying wages to a lot of our employees because they're volunteers.
Right.
So the people that run the cafe, we have volunteer dishwashers, volunteer people in there helping to pack up the food, volunteer servers. So we're, a restaurant, you have to have wait staff and dishwashers and, your manager and all your people. We have paid cooks and a nutrition coordinator and myself, but we kind of help keep things moving. But we have a whole ton of volunteers that, the nutrition program probably has 300 to 400 volunteers a year that help them.
Taking out the meals.
Taking out the meals, packing the meals. They have groups come in to help serve the meals, special events, volunteer dishwashers. People will volunteer for a lot of things and help out in a lot of different ways.
So, if I can just venture a little bit of ways, you have a family, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they part of the volunteer? Or?
Well, my two girls, one that's going to be a senior in college and one that's going to be a freshman in college.
Oh my.
Yep, and when they were younger, for sure, they volunteer, come in sometimes in the summer and volunteer in the kitchen. Or for special events like the spaghetti dinner or the Thanksgiving dinner, they'd come and help. They always like to do that.
Yeah, that's a good thing for kids.
It's nice. It's, and I encourage that of the other employees that have kids too, it's have kids in and have them help if they want, and it's a good volunteer experience. It's great to become familiar with older people when you're young, and some disabled folks as well, to be comfortable around different people is a really good life skill.
I didn't think about that, be comfortable around different people, but that's a good point.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
The classes that you offer, I know they're really diverse, but are most of the people, they're not volunteers that offer those classes?
No. So the most of there are paid teachers that staff those classes. We have an agreement with Clackamas Community College, where they have teachers, that will, we can contract with them with some of their teachers, and so that helps us in that way. We have other teachers that are just sort of on their own, independent contractors, so to speak.
And do people give you a presentation about what they want to give you as a class, or do you come
We do. Well, both. So it's sort of a two-way thing. Like Tina, who's our recreation coordinator, will sometimes put out sort of like a request for someone that can teach Tai Chi.
Right.
Sometimes someone will come to her and say, I teach Tai Chi, I'd like to teach here, and then she's got to vet them through the process to see if they're going to work. And then it kind of goes like that. Some of our instructors have been there longer than I, and some are new. And it's a big thing. The instructor really sets the dynamic for the class. They kind of build a following for their class. So if they leave for some reason, then sometimes the class stops, and it's hard to start it back up because it becomes a sort of a personality / class lots of times, whether it's painting or exercise or what have you.
Right, and you have some workshops that are just volunteers, don't you? I think I took a writing class and they were
Yeah,
volunteers.
sometimes we do have workshops led by volunteers, yes.
And that's fun. So you got the kids, so now you just need to get the middle portion.
And I think that's honestly the hardest. The teenage or the young adults is a hard one to fit in, but we're trying.
Yeah, there's so much they're doing on their own. Yeah.
The community gardens that you have, in fact, I have one of the community gardens, but when did that start, and is that just for seniors, or is that?
So that's started, and once again, I'm going to estimate here, about 20 years ago. I think it was through I'm going to say part of it was through the Save and Skills Center. And they had a teacher there and had a class, and they built that nice gazebo back there.
Oh, nice.
And then the different height gardens, and they're set so there's higher ones for people that can't bend over, and lower ones for people that can bend over a little bit, and they're off the ground. So
And wheelchair people.
and then for the community at large, I mean, they're generally for seniors, but the demand is such that there's other people that can rent them as well.
Oh. That's great. I can't think of anything else. Would you like to add in anything about you or the Milwaukie Community Center or something more? You think you've got it all out there? Well, you could say some of the things you do, like senior law. That's free.
Sure. So I think with the Milwaukie Community Center, one thing is we're always looking for volunteers. And there's lots of volunteer opportunities and jobs, and there's lots of space to create new opportunities and jobs. We're always being like, well, maybe we could find a volunteer to do that, because we do have a limited staff, and we get a lot of very, very capable volunteers with a lot of good skills, and we just started somebody that's, well, he can help Tina with, so she's setting up tech and Zoom classes and all this, and we have, she takes her out of her routine, so we're trying to get a volunteer that can help do that. So there's always like opportunities to try to expand what a volunteer can do in order to, make our center more dynamic.
Nice.
So that's one of the really nice things.
Well, wonderful. If you need something as a senior, I always start at the Milwaukie Community Center. So, okay, maybe you want to say happy anniversary to the city of Milwaukie.
Okay. Happy anniversary, city of Milwaukie, 120 years, going strong.
Yeah, very
All
good.
right.
Excellent.
Thank you, Marty.
Thanks for having me.